Get in on the action this season with Underdogs Pick'em game. Select higher or lower between 2 and 8 players and compete for up to 325 times your entry. Use code DIRECTOR when signing up to receive up to $1,000 in bonus cash and a free pick. Yo to Bolt fam, it's the Director. Chargers fans, we got a bit of news rolling in today. Something that Chargers fans have been kind of wanting for very many seasons now. Detroit Pistons owner Tom Gores buys 20% or 27% of the Chargers, resolving a long-standing Spanos family legal issue in the process. Cool. Who is this guy? I don't know. I don't know anything. I don't spit about the Detroit Pistons. Some Pistons fans are telling me, hey, man, it's probably not the best news for y'all Chargers fans. But at 27%, not a controlling, share of the company, I don't know what that means. But you guys in the comment section below, let me know what you think of that. And whatever, it is what it is. But that's not what we're here to talk about. Today, we're here to talk about a pretty significant matchup in the Chargers season this year. The Chargers versus the Chiefs. I know a lot of fans excited to see this and probably got tickets in advance in anticipation of a very good matchup. Well, I'm sorry. It's probably not going to turn out the way that you hoped. We don't have Justin Herbert out there potentially. We're going to be maybe even missing our top 5 players on the roster. It could get ugly out there on Sunday. But I'm here to tell you, man, I don't think we're entirely out of this one. Some people are going to think I'm nuts, okay? And maybe I am nuts. I'm the director, too optimistic at times. But this is a situation that I think has a little bit more deeper meaning the closer you take a look at it. And I think the Chargers defense gives us a really good shot at maybe winning this game. The Chargers offense kind of built for situations like this. I don't know, man. It's the Chiefs. It's going to be a really, really tough uphill battle, but it's one that I don't think we should sit out. Not even a little bit close, okay? Now, before we do jump into this one, guys, shout out to the sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. Use code DIRECTOR to receive up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Newcomers, take advantage of the free pick of Lamar Jackson. Everybody be taking advantage of the free pick of Patrick Mahomes. If you guys aren't taking advantage of those tokens, you're playing Underdog wrong. That's definitely the way to get that really easy cash to float the rest of your slips. Before we do hit things off, man, hit us up with a like and sub if you do enjoy this Chargers content. The small amount of time you guys take to the like, sub, and bell notification helps me out a lot. Let's get into it, baby. Lights, camera, action.
Who's got it better than us?
Into the end zone, Charger fans are witnesses to history!
Your Chargers versus Chiefs. Week 4 game preview for the second time. I'm not going to lie, guys. This is my second time recording this video. My mic was off the first time. Kind of blows, but it is what it is. Okay, let's go over this again. I'm going to be in the Twilight Zone this entire episode, okay, guys? So please forgive me. Chargers laundry list, CVS receipt, Costco receipt, Walgreens receipt of an injury report. This is, if you were on Chargers social media this week, this is all anyone's talking about, and for very good reason, right? This is absurd. There are so many names on this list that are not just important, but like crucial, pivotal, cornerstone pieces of this team that it makes me sick to even look at. And yes, it's very unfortunate. Now, as we go through this list, I need to invite you guys to remember one very important fact in the back of your brains, okay? The Chargers have something coming up next week that we all complained about, that me included, we're all pretty pissed about at the top of the season. A week 5 bye week is just around the corner, okay? That is literally a divine intervention right there, man. That is the kiss of God on this roster. Like, hey, y'all don't know this yet, but you're going to need some time after week 4, man. Heck, after week 3. We got the early bye, which is going to help a lot. And with that in the back of your brains, we can kind of go over this thinking, hey, we got some dice to roll this week. Who are we going to throw out there, right? It's the Chiefs of all teams, too. Who are we going to throw out there in hopes that we don't make the situation worse for ourselves later? Who we throw out there knowing that we got an extra week next week coming up to really help some of these specific injuries become a thing of the past? Because some of these injuries, I'm not going to lie, man, like hammies are very hard to diagnose or figure out what's going on in terms of the long term. But hey, 2-3 weeks of rest, that could certainly help, right? Knee issues. I think Joe Alt was kind of seen working with trainers early this morning. That's something that, hey, an extra couple of weeks, that could certainly help. right? Not putting a Justin Herbert out on the field, the one-legged quarterback that's been suffering through pain the last 2 weeks, giving him 3 weeks of rest. Because, yes, this week, if we sit him, and the bye week, 3 weeks to help a high ankle sprain, I certainly think would help a ton. Where are you going to be rolling those dice? It's going to be an interesting talking point, okay, and one that we're going to talk a lot about in this week's episode because it's a big decision, okay? So with that all in mind, the Week 5 bye week coming up, where we're going to be rolling the dice, let's go over this list. Joe Alt, a superstar sensation at tackle. Knee injury last week, probably not going to play this week, okay? And to the point of Stephen Hagelin, I saw his post this morning. I have to throw a shout out here because it's absolutely warranted. It's a point that I really want to help drive home. Everybody's talking about Joe Alt versus Malik Neighbors. Neighbors had another fantastic day yesterday in their Thursday Night Football versus the Cowboys. That comparison's never going to go away. I invite you guys to understand the significance of Joe Alt for a moment here, okay? Joe Alt, the rookie, is currently a top 5 tackle in the NFL. Okay, that comparison, yes, is going to haunt some Chargers fans because they love the flashiness, the excitement of a Malik Neighbors. But Joe Alt is the next big sensation at tackle. He is going to be a top 5, a top 3 tackle by the end of the season if he can stay on the field. And throughout the course of his career, I do think we ended up drafting one of the best tackles of the next 10, 15 seasons, the next generation. Okay? It's a pretty significant deal. To get any rookie in any draft that's top 5 at any position is significant. Joe Alt is an outlier. He's a freak of nature, and he's going to be a very big emphasis of this particular team build and identity going forward. Joe Alt is the man. And yes, you put him side by side in terms of the highlights. It's probably not going to impress a lot of people in comparison of the skill position like Malik Neighbors, but trust me when I say Joe Alt is the real deal. He is just as impressive at his respective position, and I think we all need to kind of cool it a little bit with the Malik Neighbors stuff. I love Neighbors. I've had a lot of fun watching him. Sure, I fantasize about what it would have been like to have him on our squad, but Joe Alt, nothing can be taken away from his effort in his rookie season so far. All right, let's continue. Joey Bosa, one of the best defensive ends, of which edge players, in the NFL. Also likely not going to be playing this game. Probably one of the biggest bummers of the season so far for me. I am a big Joey Bosa fan, but you know what? Like we were talking about earlier, 3 weeks of rest on a hip injury for Joey Bosa, that could bring his season back. And that's the potential of this Week 5 bye. Junior Colson, Darius Davis, hamstring injuries. I hate hamstring injuries. You never know what's going to happen. 3 weeks of rest? Okay. All right. That does help your chances a lot. Rashawn Slater, the other tackle, man. Absurd that we lost both of them last week. Is not practicing. Probably not going to play this week, too. It's going to be a very interesting week for whoever's playing quarterback. That's all I'm going to tell you. All right? And then a lot of these other guys, dude. Tito, probably not going to be suiting up. Pipkins, yeah, he's getting limited practices in. Sure, he has a chance to play, but not at 100%, which is also super terrible. Not just your right tackle, but your backup right tackle is showing a lot of problems. This is not good. Then you got other players like your starting corner, Christian Fulton, starting tight end, Hayden Hurst, nickel corner, and Jasir Taylor. It is just so uncertain what's going to happen this week. As of the time of recording, I don't have any official statuses to give you for any of these players. It's a sketchy week. We're going to go over a lot of these positions and where you want to roll the dice and all that kind of stuff. But, man, it's a big one. It's a long list. It's a very significant list of players. We're missing our top 5 players while playing against the best team in football this week. Very peculiar situation. Very bleak. And then you look at the Kansas City Chiefs side of things. Yeah, they just did lose Isaiah Pacheco to IR. But more or less, this team's pretty healthy. Outside of Michael Dana, who's a pretty good defensive player, I can give him that. This team is mostly healthy. So one of the worst banged-up Chargers teams I've ever seen, which is really saying something, versus a mostly healthy Kansas City Chiefs coming off a Super Bowl win. Yeah, the odds do not seem like they are in our favor. But I'm going to tell you, man, I still think there's a chance. There's always a chance. And I do think one of the most significant things that could happen this week in determining that could be the quarterback. All right? Now, this is a very controversial topic, okay? And it really does split a lot of fans down the middle in terms of their opinion. In the end, guys, we're all fans, right? This is a fan channel, right? We don't really have any control over what the team does or does not do. All we can do is express our opinions. Well, here's some opinions, okay? Chargers fandom, at least on social media, kind of split down the middle right now. On one side, you got the guys that say, hey, man, every game in the NFL is important, especially division games. It's a tough game. Guys are going to get hurt. Resting Justin Herbert this week doesn't necessarily guarantee that he won't get hurt later down the road. He's a tough-as-nails guy. He wants to play. He wants to be competitive. And we need to give ourselves every opportunity, best chance possible to win this one versus the Chiefs. It's that important. And to that, I'm going to say valid argument. Okay? Valid arguments. I am not going to argue against that. That's something that, honestly, yeah, a lot of that gets me fired up and wants to see Justin Herbert out there and see us as the most competitive version of ourselves as possible. But again, you got to realize, I wish I had the sound effect. Maybe I'll get it. I don't know. The sound effect of the dice in your hands rolling. Okay, you're about to cast those die, man. Rolling out Justin Herbert, it does give you better odds. It does, to beat the Chiefs. I don't even know how we would fare, fully healthy versus the Chiefs, but it does help your odds quite a bit. But you are rolling those dice. And to that, there's another side of the argument, in which I'm going to say right now, I am kind of on this side of things. I'm not alone out here. I understand that. But to me, you got the Week 5 bye coming around. You got a high ankle sprain in Justin Herbert that's easily re-aggravated. On the flip side, it's the kind of injury that with some time, again, I'm not a doctor, don't take my word for this, but it's the kind of injury where with a little bit more time to stay off it, to let it heal, the better chances that you have of it not completely derailing your season, of coming back with a fury, right? 3 weeks of rest for a high ankle sprain sure does help your odds quite a bit. And now you're talking about throwing different die. One where yeah, maybe you don't have as good of a shot to win this week, but it really does help your chances for what's it going to be, 12 weeks in the NFL, in which one of them is another matchup versus the Chiefs, in which I'm really hoping we're more healthy in that second time around. Justin Herbert, the man on one leg, the man playing literally with nobody at tackle, against a really good defensive line, a Chris Jones-led defensive line. It's going to be a really bad situation for whoever we throw out there. I've been joking around, a lot of guys joking around on Twitter lately. Whoever we throw out there at quarterback is going to be sacrificed to the NFL gods. You're just putting him out there on the sacrificial, table or whatever. And honestly, Taylor Heineke might be the guy this week to do that, because you got an offensive line that for more or less is not familiar with each other at these positions for the most part. You got your two towers at right and left tackle, right, who are one of the best or two of the best in the entire NFL. They're going to be absent for this game. It's going to be really difficult to protect whoever it is throwing in the football. And I think it should be Taylor Heineke this week for a couple of different reasons. One, I don't want to re-injure Justin Herbert. But two, let's not forget that we went and traded for this guy and that Taylor Heineke is a massive, massive upgrade at QB2 to what we had in Easton Stick. No offense to Easton Stick. I feel like his time is come and gone as backup quarterback. But Taylor Heineke, man, this is a pretty good backup QB that, let's be honest, in this particular system, in this particular roster build, in this particular, philosophy of team build, under Jim Harbaugh, can still thrive. If Jim Harbaugh can take a J.J. McCarthy and turn him into a superstar at the collegiate level, I feel like Taylor Heineke is set up to have at least a shot at winning this game behind a solid run game and a really good defense. I feel like Heineke could do it. I really do. And I don't think any of us really can fully grasp that right now because we haven't seen a big sample size of QB2 being successful in a long time. We automatically assume that if it's not number 10 out there, we're going to see results like what Easton Stick gave us late last season. No, this is a completely different playing field. Taylor Heineke is a quality backup quarterback. Let's put him out there and do what we're paying him to do, right? It play in lieu of Justin Herbert. And honestly, it not only gives you insurance that Justin Herbert doesn't get hurt this game, but also comes back with a fury in week 6. I don't know, man. That's just my opinion, okay? But of course, who knows what's going to happen? Maybe it kind of feels like he is going to play Justin Herbert, which to that, I'm going to be holding my breath every single down, but it is what it is, and all we can do is hope for the best. But my personal opinion, I would be rolling out with Heineke this week. Again, to reiterate this next point, a big reason to that is the offensive line. A line in shambles. I can't lie to you guys. I don't know how this is going to look. There's actually a tweet I'm going to be showing here in just a second of what Daniel Popper described he saw as the line in open practice, or the open portion of practice yesterday. But, I mean, dudes, this is bad. Joe Alt, which again, it's going to be tough for me not to emphasize this, a top 5 tackle in the NFL, not there this week. Rashawn Slater, again, a top 5 tackle in the NFL, not there this week. you're going to have to move some things around. It was already tough. It's a new regime, a new offense. You got chemistry that needs to be built on the line. You got a new center, right? A new tackle. Like it's in line. It's a position that's going to take some time to gel. And right now, all of a sudden, things just got thrown out of whack. This is what we're working with right now. Dan Popper posted this out. Chargers offensive line during viewing period today. Left tackle Jamari Sawyer. Okay, he wasn't too terrible when he was thrown out there a couple of years ago. Let's see what happens. Zion Johnson still on the line. Bradley Bozeman still on the line. All right, guard. Sam Mustafar? I have the high ground. But I don't know who this guy is. Sam Mustafar? I don't know, man. That's tough. Then a right tackle, which was, formerly right guard for Trey Pipkins, he's very hit or miss. More often miss than hit. He's already a little hobbled right now, too, right? He wasn't in full health. I think he had, if I remember correctly, like a finger issue or something. I don't remember. Definitely not looking good. Certainly not looking as good as the Chargers offensive line last week. And again, I do expect the line to come back to its full glory, maybe even as soon as week 6 after the bye week. I wouldn't be shocked at all to see the Chargers line back to premium, version of themselves. But right now, this version of the line is so uncertain to me. They could be okay, right? We've seen a world where Sawyer and Pip are not bad. Is it going to be this week? It could be. I don't know if I want to roll those dice, though, man. With Justin Herbert, I would probably let Taylor Heineke try and handle that. Which at this point, he might even be more mobile than Justin Herbert. Because at this point, if this line doesn't hold up the way that you're hoping, if it really is as bad as some of us are thinking, your quarterback's going to need to be on the move a lot. And Justin Herbert with a high ankle sprain running for his life doesn't sound like a good idea to me. Heineke actually can run. And he may need to if he ends up starting for the Chargers on Sunday. Okay? Lastly, in a long list of horrible, sad things in terms of injury, we got the Bosa and Derwin situation. Of course, on the left side, Joey Bosa dealing with injury. He's probably not going to be suiting up this week. And on the right side, you got yourself Derwin James, who was suspended. I don't even want to get into it for some nonsense, okay? He doesn't tackle the way the league wanted him to tackle, whatever. They're trying to make examples. Jim Harbaugh's not happy about it. I'm not happy about it, but it is what it is. How convenient for the Chiefs that we're missing our top 5 players, and one of them is because of this weird suspension. It is what it is. Can the Chargers still survive? That's where the narrative's gonna flip around here a little bit. I'm here to tell you guys, despite all the nonsense that we're dealing with all the injuries and the suspension and missing top 5 players and who's at quarterback, yada, 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 I still think the Chargers have a legitimate shot at winning this game. Isn't that kind of crazy? But let's be clear, man. It's a division matchup. Anything can happen. We have a pretty capable quarterback, too, and a team that's designed for these situations, more or less. And one of the biggest things that I'm going to go ahead and kick off the optimistic part of this video in is a segment called The Chiefs Team on the Edge. This is, okay, we only have a 3-week sample size, okay, to kind of go off on this, but this is actually kind of significant. Patrick Mahomes, to me, in the first 3 weeks, who's he played? Baltimore? Atlanta? Who was the second? I don't remember. In those games, Patrick Mahomes has thrown for 5 touchdowns. Okay, not bad. Not as great as we've seen in the past, but also 4 interceptions. Wait a minute. Now you got my attention, okay? Patrick Mahomes, 4 picks. We know that under pressure, Patrick Mahomes is known to make some mistakes, but right now they've been pretty costly. And the Chargers' pressure, which is the, by far and away, highlight of this defense, is the most lethal pass rush that Patrick Mahomes has faced this season. There's some decent ones out there, but nowhere near as good as the Chargers, even without Joey Bosa. We got Khalil Mack. We got Tuli Tuipulotu, who I'm sporting in today's video. We got Bud Dupree. This line is deep. The edge position is very deep, and this is going to be the biggest test of pressure that Patrick Mahomes has faced this season. So far, under duress, he's made a lot of mistakes, turnovers, leading to, let's say, less than Chiefs-like scoring that we've noticed in the past, right? I haven't seen a 30-point game yet, which is, again, like for any other NFL team, you're like, well, duh, but this is the Chiefs, right? This last week versus the Falcons, didn't he only put up like 22 points or something like that? Okay. Maybe we have something to work with. The Chargers, who have one of the toughest, one of the most dangerous pass rushing defenses in the NFL, could swing things early with some big plays on defense. I think it's more than possible, if I'm being quite honest. Because, yeah, we don't have Derwin James, but guess what? We got the preseason darling in Tony Jefferson making his way to the active roster. They activated him yesterday. I think that's a pretty serviceable backup, in my opinion. You got Joey Bosa at edge, which, yeah, but, edge is very, very deep. The defense has been playing very tough, very good. Offense of the football is what's seen the most concerning, injuries right now going into this week. I still think the defense is pretty dang good. And I really honestly believe that the Chargers defense will ultimately give them the best chance to win this game. And fortunately for us, it's still a pretty good defense. And right now, at a particular moment where Patrick Mahomes is making a lot of mistakes in the passing game, I think it kind of stems a chance here for the Chargers. And I think the Chargers defense ultimately and honestly are going to give the Chargers defense is going to give the team a couple of opportunities via turnover for them to try and take some form of control of this game. Not even control, just a chance to win this game. But it's not going to come without help from the offense. Okay? Chiefs offense protecting Patrick Mahomes and the Chargers defense and their chances at getting to the quarterback, I think all of that works in our favor, but I don't think any of that matters unless the offense produces, despite who's in at quarterback. And to me, honestly, it's going to come down to not the quarterback position this week. It's going to come down to the surrounding positions. Because again, I think Taylor Heineke's more than capable of getting the ball to Ladd McConkey. He fit a pretty beautiful pass into Ladd McConkey last week in the limited run that he had, right? I think that's something that you can work with. But I think, again, ultimately the availability of some of these skill position players is going to help your odds out in capitalizing what the defense is giving. I think the defense is going to give the Chargers some pretty good field position. I think we're going to see a couple of turnovers. And I think, again, we have guys that haven't quite burst out into the scene enough to convince anybody that we can take down the Chiefs, but they are on the roster. Ladd McConkey, despite what you think, is a very, very good wide receiver. He's being overshadowed, funny enough, by another wide receiver not on this roster, Malik Neighbors, right? But when you take a look at his game and you take a look at his impact and you take a look at how he's been performing, he is a freak. He just needs more opportunities. They need to get him in there, more involved, and I think he can make a big impact. Which this week, the Kansas City Chiefs, their defense so far is allowing something like 250 yards through the air every single week, which is a good argument to get Justin Herbert out there to give yourself a best chance of winning this one. Of course, you want to see your best passer out there, but I think Heineke could handle it against a Chiefs team that's giving up that many yards every week if you've got the skill positions to complement. Ladd McConkey, to me, still hugely not realized as one of the better talents in the NFL at wide receiver. He's going to have a game that wakes everybody up to it. I wouldn't be shocked if it was this one, if I'm being quite honest. McConkey could be the dude this week. Quentin Johnston has kind of woken up and emerged to some people. I think you got to do a little bit more than the last couple of weeks, which has been pretty good, right, to really put himself on the map. But he's off to a really good start. 3 touchdowns in 3 games, averaging, like 50 yards in those games, too. He's been looking awesome. I think the Chargers have something here on offense, right? I think we could, I don't know. I think we can do this. And behind, a decent passing offense, we also have to remember this team is built to run the football, to which the Chiefs, I'll be honest, haven't been the best defense to run the football against. I don't know if they've allowed 100 yards on the ground outside of the Week 1 matchup versus Lamar Jackson, which that's kind of an outlier to me. But the Chargers could be that team. The Chargers could, again, because what was it? The Falcons, and then the other week too, I don't remember. The Chargers definitely have one of the better run games that you're going to see on the Chiefs' schedule this season. And I think J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, these guys can help, keep pace here. We may see even a little bit of Kamani Vidal this week. I don't know what's going on with Gus Edwards. Might still be battling an injury there. But, again, a tough defense, an offense that features a lot of running. I think J.K. Dobbins is the kind of running back that can make up for a bit of variation in the offensive line that's not super consistent. I think that he can overcome that. And I think the Chargers' running attack and tough defense can be enough to overcome and at least put yourself in a position to where you don't need to win this game, but you need to build the team up in a way where you have confidence moving forward that you are a contender versus the Chiefs, right? Maybe we don't win this game. Maybe it's okay. Maybe as long as we put up a fight, we show that our running attack does work, that the defense is giving Patrick Mahomes fits. Hey, we'll see you later down the line when we're back to at least, 80% on the roster, right? In my season prediction of wins and losses, I actually did have the Chargers losing twice, but being a very, very legitimate threat to the Chiefs in the postseason, which could still end up being the case here too. Okay? So again, I'm not going to say anything's uncertain. I'm not going to say anything is, or I should say, I'm not going to say anything's written in stone here. I think the Chargers do have kind of a chance. The Chiefs have not been as lethal as they have been in the past. Some would say at least a couple of matchups have been saved by the refereeing the past couple of weeks. Certainly, I've seen it the past 2 weeks in a row, which is absolutely ridiculous. And they haven't been blowing out teams the way that they normally have. Sure, they're on 3-0 team right now. Sure, they're a Super Bowl, champion right now. And sure, they deserve all the respect in the world as a legitimate threat, which we're going to reflect in our score prediction here. But they're not invulnerable. They're not invincible. And I think the Chargers are going to find a way to exploit some weaknesses here that teach them how to beat the Chiefs, that they're capable of beating the Chiefs, and that when they come back after they've licked their wounds and they're ready to go closer to 100%, that they are a legitimate threat to the Chiefs, even in Arrowhead, where their next matchup's going to be. So again, spoiler alert from before, I still don't know if the Chargers win this game, but I do think it's going to be closer than people realize. Every game so far for the Chiefs this year has kind of been that for me. It's like, wow, they won, but by how much? And they were kind of saved by the refs over and over, right? So even in this game where the Chargers are beat up, I got the score prediction being Chargers 17 to the Chiefs 23, which interestingly enough isn't as high scoring as I anticipated at the top of the season. But I think for a couple of different reasons there, probably the biggest one being that the Chiefs do feel like they aren't the same Chiefs from last season in terms of offensive dominance, which the Chargers can definitely take advantage of later down the road. You guys let me know in the comment section what you think of this. Definitely interesting. My second go on this video too, so forgive me if we ran out of steam there at the tail end of it. Woo, man. That's like an hour straight of recording, man. I'm ready. I'm going to go stretch my legs and get ready to go watch Wild Robot with the family at the movie theaters. Man, my little one was up all night too with the stomach flu. He feels much better this morning, man, but I got to tell you, I'm exhausted. Poor little guy too, man. He was not feeling well. Oh, we're going to go put our feet up, man. Guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let me know your score predictions. We're going to go rest up and get ready for a big game on Sunday. Thank you so much for joining me. If you liked what you saw here, hit us up with the like and sub on your way out. We'll see you next time. And as always, bolt up and stay frosty. This show is sponsored by Pepto-Bismol.